Okay, welcome everyone. It's good to see you. Now, as you already know, some of you already know, this week's topic is about gurus or guru devotion. Last Tuesday we've discussed some of the benefits of relying on a spiritual guide, and today it's all about the possible problems of relying on a spiritual guide. So, probably in your lifetime you've met or seen some spiritual teachers, maybe have seen them on YouTube or read books that they have written, or maybe attended classes, teachings, retreats. Now, some of these teachers are incredibly charismatic, some are very blunt, some are very sincere, straightforward, people that talk only very few words. Some they talk a lot, some are very funny, some are very serious. There's a whole lot of different spiritual teachers out there. A whole lot of colors, a whole lot of shapes. Then you have your scandals, you have things that happen to these spiritual teachers, like sex scandals and whatnot. All these kind of things, like scandals with money and abuse of their students, all these kind of things. So it brings me right to the first point that could be problematic when you rely on a spiritual guide, which is very often an unhealthy transference of power to that person. So you give away power to that person. Manifests as like, oh, my guru is the best. My guru will liberate me from my suffering and my problems, and all I need to do is sit in the master's presence. And basically you're giving up the need to do the work. And so you come to teaching after teaching after teaching after teaching, but nothing happens. You're still the same old person. Someone's in your face, you still get angry. You're standing in a traffic jam, you have to wait, you still get impatient. And you still feel really uncomfortable if you sit by yourself alone in your room and try to meditate, and you have no idea what to really do, but it's really comfortable to have all these guided meditations from your spiritual guide. Because you don't really have to do anything in these guided meditations. You just listen, and it's almost like your teacher is mindful for you. And now bring your attention to the breath. And now now expand your awareness into an open, empty space and receive all experiences just as they are. And now do this, now do that. But ideally, you should do that. And sitting a lot with guided meditation or listening to spiritual guides a lot very often gives you the sense of, I'm doing my spiritual practice, I'm being very spiritual, while at the same time you're not really doing anything. It's like reading a spiritual book. It might feel very enriching and very nice, and you have all these little insights. But at the end of the chapter, it was just little short flashes, but nothing has really changed deeply inside of you yet. So this happens when there is this kind of transference of power to a book, a teacher, a teaching, an app. You let that stuff do the work for you. It's the reading that gives me these little insights. It's attending teachings that makes me feel I'm floating. I have all these very important understandings about the practice and the path and meditation. And then you go back home and like literally 2 minutes after class, you've already forgotten most of it. And the mindfulness is just out of the window. You leave the classroom and boom, the chattering starts, and boom, the motorbike waits for you, and boom, you're off to the pizza location, eat a pizza or something like that. And you're totally lost again for the next week maybe, or for the next few hours maybe. And if you have some good training, And maybe just for a few minutes you're lost, until you catch yourself again. You become aware again. Oh, I'm here. Oh, I'm lost in thought. Sometimes I'm working with people and I tell them, drop your thinking. And they drop their thinking. I show them how. Then they drop their thinking. And literally after, just when the next sentence starts, they start again to think. They get right again back into thought. It happens so fast. For example, I tell them, okay, drop your thinking. Let it go. Let it pass. You say, that's really nice. That's very liberating. And then they sit quietly for a few seconds. And then the but comes. Yeah, but I might not be able to do that when I'm back home. I can do this when I'm on retreat, and it's nice. I'm on holiday right now, but when I'm back home, stressful, busy city life, boom, lost in thought again. And I say, you're not home now. You could also say you are home already. It's the same. So drop thinking about other things and be here. Oh, yeah, it's true. It's so true. Just the other day I read a book about it, and can you believe it? I already forgot. Back to thinking again. And so when you're around a spiritual teacher, you do have these experiences more frequently. If it's a good spiritual teacher, then there's power behind the words, there's power behind the instruction, and so you get into the state very fast with ease. And that's good, but it can become addictive. It can become something that kind of like replaces practice, doesn't it? I just attend the teaching every week, and that's kind of my thing. But how about your own practice? Who in here is working without apps, without guided meditations, without reading? Very good. Anyone? Hands up. Who is working? Good. You see, it's not so many. And that's exactly what I encourage you guys to do. Stop transferring the power to machines, to books, to videos, to stuff, or to the teachers. You want to do the work and do it really, really well. And yes, in the beginning, this is super uncomfortable because we're out of our comfort zone. It's something new. We don't know what to do. And we don't like being in a state where we don't know what we're doing. So out comes the app again. At least here I have some structure, which keeps you again from developing the power of developing your own structure, which comes with experience and time. That's why you need to put in sessions. And the teacher cannot do that for you. Even though around a good teacher you might feel released and at ease and relaxed, then as soon as you get out into your life and stuff hits you again, then the relaxation goes away right there. But it's your job then to kind of make it stable and to carry it into your everyday life and to keep it alive. Think of a teaching that you receive as a lit candle. And think of a temple like this, or like a meditation room, however you want to call it, like this, as a sanctuary with closed windows where the candle flame burns easily. Now, but as soon as you carry your candle outside of the room, there's wind. And it will blow out the candle flame so fast. So it's really important to guard the light that you receive. You might receive very powerful teachings that even lead to a short flash, to an insight, to an understanding, to a revelation. I've had many of those. They're nothing like really out there or really amazing or special. They're just little understandings. For a moment you see clearly. That's great. Now your candle is lit. Keep the flame burning. And your teacher cannot do that for you. He might help you to light the candle. And once it is lit, you need to guard it. And that's then your own practice. And once your candle burns steadily, even in the strongest wind, then you can also light other candles, obviously. Right? So that's one thing, the transference of power. That can also lead to an abuse of power, right? This is pretty famous, actually. Any spiritual teacher, the more power you transfer to a spiritual teacher, the more that teacher can crush you, actually. And it happens so many times. There's self-help groups online. There's people who meet after having been really, really disappointed by their teachers, by the spiritual teachers. Turns out, after a while, the pink glasses come off. It happens to a lot of people. And it turns out the teacher has been lying to them, or hasn't been genuine in some way, or was abusing them. And then this is big, because the relationship to a spiritual teacher goes very deep. This is something that is very, very deep, so you need to take it seriously, and you need to know, who do you rely, who do you really trust? And somebody, like a good spiritual teacher, has to deserve and earn your trust. You can't trust somebody because they wear great clothes, or they have a fancy name, or they're very well known. That's not the right requirements. We need to test the practice. We need to test their prescriptions, the medicine that they give to you. You need to eat and see, does it heal you? Does it help? Right? And that is your measurement of success with that teacher. If you do the work, then you get the results of the work, and from the results there arises love and appreciation for your teacher. Not the other way around. I had it the other way around. I was admiring and loving my root guru and my teacher. When I was in the Tibetan Buddhist monastery, I was talking about my root guru and so forth. And the Tibetans there, the monks who were there, they were just laughing at me. They're just like, you're funny. Your Westerners are funny with you. You're so fast at accepting like someone as your guru, and then you go around and you wear the guru like a badge, you know. It's very funny. If I look at that in retrospect, it's funny. But at that moment, it was like I was dead serious. He's my root guru. But what does that really mean, a root guru? A root guru is a teacher that is at the root of your deepest insights. And that is a year-long commitment between student and teacher. And a commitment to the practice, mostly, not to a person, but to the work, to eating the medicine. Not reading the prescriptions or chanting the prescriptions. Anything like that. You have to do the work. That's important. And once you do it, you will recognize, wow, this is really beneficial. It makes my life better. It makes me more happy. It makes me more relaxed and at ease, less stressed, less worried. Gives me an overall sense of control and centeredness and whatever. And then gratitude arises. Then faith is strengthened due to your experience. Right? So that's the first point. Watch out for this pitfall, transference of responsibility or power. The second pitfall, the second problem is false admiration. That we admire some spiritual guides for their presumed enlightened qualities. Big problem. How do you know who's enlightened and who's not? My spiritual teacher is enlightened. He's fully enlightened. He is on the first stage of enlightenment. He's on the second stage of enlightenment. How do you know? That means you must be on the same state so you can know the state of your teacher. But if you're not on the same state, then the question is, what is my teacher's state of mind actually? Is my teacher really enlightened or not? I've been practicing meditation for 15 years. It leads many people to believe that I'm some sort of guru or teacher. It's not true at all. And I warn you not to go into that thought, because it's absolutely useless. Like Tobi is a guru, Tobi is a spirit. It's totally useless. It's wasted time. What does that help you? In my opinion, it's really important to do the work properly. Practice. It's in the practice. That's taste the medicine, eat the medicine. See, does it work? And in order to see whether the medicine works or not, you need to know what you want. Why are you sitting here? You see, during this meditation just now, I was asking you again and again to reflect on your intention. Why are you doing this? Why do you sit? What do you want to get out of this? You. What is moving you? What is pulling you? Is there something that pulls you towards meditation? And what is that? What is lifting your spirit to the practice or to coming here? What's the real point? Why are you coming? Some of you are coming again and again. And why? Why really? One time I was in Chiang Mai, I was doing a retreat, and we took like walks during the retreat, and we found this temple, quite an isolated temple, and they had this teaching hall, and on the teaching hall in the front there was a door, and on the door there were the words, "Why do you come?" But in Thai, "Ma thamai," it's quite harsh to ask that actually. If anyone comes to your house and you ask them the words, "Ma thamai," it means like, it is more like in the spirit of, what the heck do you want? So it's quite rough. And these words were on the door. "Ma thamai," why do you come? What's the point? Well, why are you here? What do you want? Very good question. This is a very good question. Why am I crossing my legs and close my eyes? What's the point? What do I really want out of this? If you don't have a solid, powerful intention or motivation, the practice is going to be a dabbling thing then. It will not really lead to profound results because it's not really directed. It goes with the wind. Okay, it feels good for this week, then you do that. The next week another thing feels good, then you do that. Following feelings, following ideas. You read another book, you discover another technique, boop, the practice changes again. You watch a YouTube video, boop, the practice changes again. Because you don't really know what you want. And then once you know what you want, it's very important to know what it is that you need to get there. This is basic goal setting. What is required to achieve your goal? Some meditators, they say, no goal setting, it's future, it's bad. I'm not like that. I think it's very useful. It's a very useful tool if you know what you want from your meditation practice, and then you go and get it. Then you also need to understand what are the obstacles on that path. What could happen that makes you stray off the path? What would keep you from reaching your goals? Once you have figured that one out, your practice is going to be laser sharp. No deviations, no dabbling, no shaky ground. Very solid practice, very clear results. And that is amazingly fulfilling. Dabbling is not. It'll always leave you feel with give you a bad aftertaste. Like nothing's really happening. And you can do that for years and you can keep yourself in the illusion that stuff is happening, but really deep down inside you know, nothing's really happening. So, coming back to the second point, admiration. Admiring things that we don't really know anything about is pointless, is useless. It doesn't lead you anywhere. So instead of admiring something that's fantasy, better to have like a very genuine interest in something and know why you do it, and then do it and see, does it work? Like basic science, right? You have a premise and you need to try a little bit. You do some experiments, you put things together and see, does it work? You're curious. Better than admiration of fantastic qualities, is curiosity. Feeling a sense of, that's interesting. Is it possible for stress to end? Is it possible for worries to end right now? Does my practice help with that? And how? Like simple stuff like that. Working on really simple steps. Better than admiring Buddhas and masters and whatnot. These are things that I know nothing about, so why admire things that I don't know anything about? I love my teacher for one reason only, because what he has given me works. And it gets me exactly what I want. Freedom from stress. Freedom from suffering, from pain. That's why I love him. And it's a very normal relationship. Before it was all this kind of ethereal, my teacher, he has the biggest aura and so much light. And it's the same with, my dad has a big car. It's the same thing, isn't it? My God is the greatest. My dad has a bigger car than your dad. Not much difference there. And the third pitfall, of course, is to rely on people without realization. Fake gurus that are in with harmful intention. Let's say if I would be sitting here in front of you talking from the wish that I want all of you to become my devotees, and then the next step would be all of you need to buy a picture of me and put it up on your wall in your bedroom, and then you need to light a candle and incense sticks every day in front of that picture, and you need to do prostrations, 3 of them every day. That's my goal, okay? And that's why I talk to you, and that's why I use all this inspiring stuff, because I want you to love me. And that can be very intoxicating. And spiritual teachers are not very often out of that danger, that they want their students to love them in some way and to express that love in some way. And then, of course, that pulls students to them who are looking for the teacher's attention a lot also. So it's the teacher looking for the student's attention and the student looking for the teacher's attention. But it's not about the practice. It doesn't really transform people. It just keeps them asleep, and the teacher also keeps himself asleep with that. So for a teacher, it's a responsibility to be absolutely straightforward and honest about that, and sincere to work on it, to get out of these poisonous mental states, because they lead absolutely nowhere. And they're harmful for the students. What I find to be, what is working pretty well for me, is to think of this as the last thing I do in my life. It automatically destroys these ideas. I will die. And you also all will die. And who goes first, we don't know. So why? I need fame and all that for what? It's pretty pointless, isn't it? It's like dreaming up something. And in the end, when I die, how will I feel about that? Yeah, nasty. I've wasted my life's time with just trying to get followers. I haven't accomplished anything in there. But how about you guys? What's moving you? And what is it that pulls you to spiritual teachings or teachers, to watch on YouTube, to listen to them? What is it that pulls you? Is it charisma of the teacher? Is it skillful words? Well-spoken teachings? What is it? Or is it because you want something from those teachings? What do you want? Start with really simple stuff. I'd like to be a bit happier. Drop the enlightening things. I want enlightenment. I have no idea what it is. So let's just try to be a bit happier. So a little bit. That would be great. A little less scared. Nice. I could do with that. And so now look, who can give you that? Or who can show you the path to a little less fear and a bit more happiness? Then test. Test that person. Test them by looking at their lifestyle. Test them by putting to work what they teach within your own mind. It's pretty simple. So these are the three things that come to mind. There are many, many more things, of course, that could come to mind about, the problems with Guru devotion. But I think for me, in my opinion, the main problem would be like this transference of responsibility, giving the whole responsibility of the path to someone else. Instead of me doing the work, why am I doing this work? What for? So before entering such a relationship, make absolutely clear what you want, why you want it. Then see who has it. Then test their methods. Then see what the results are, and then build a relationship like that. That would be proper. And it is as good as it gets. Whether someone is enlightened or not, we never know. It could be that all of you are enlightened. You're all coming here into this room to kind of bless this house. Maybe you're all really, really kind. You just come into the room to bless the house and to just have a nice time together. Something like this. Maybe you're not enlightened. Who knows? What's important is, do I suffer? Yes, no? If yes, then there's stuff to be done. Okay? So as usual, that's all that comes to mind for tonight. Are there any questions?